1 week ago, the ironclad Westbreaker set out on her voyage away from the dazzling tropics of Hushwave City for harsher climes northwest. Her inventor began work on deciphering her prize, the ancient book, in the heat, noise, and chaos of her engine room. Her commander has attempted to fit in among the crew and, by and large, has failed so far. Penelope Hunter, eager as always for a new experience, redoubled her efforts to learn about the floating fortress. Jonathan Cobbler, always willing to work, found himself pulled between teaching and sailing. Tissa did what she does best in an unfamiliar place, found herself a spot to sit and listen. Listen to the crew, listen to the waves, and listen to the whispering voice of destiny calling from over her shoulder. Welcome to Sword of Symphonies. I'm your hostess, Kat, and I also wrote this part in advance. With me are Kirsten, who didn't know I had a script.
Hi!
Terrible. That was also scripted. We have Nick, who is about to try and torpedo this.
I don't feel like it today.
According to my script, Nick is the worst. Finally, we have Kathleen, who I can trust to take us back somewhere less hostile.
I am so impressed by how well prepared you are today.
For once. You'll be less impressed as we get on because I have not prepared much for this week. What's happened is, first of all, I do have a bit of a retcon because I have been researching icebreakers, and it turns out that sail-powered icebreakers were definitely in existence prior to the existence of steam power. So the primary means of propulsion on the Westbreaker is sail. She has an engine room, and the engine room gets use, and it's going to see a lot of use once we hit the coast. But we don't have a bunch of people in the bottom rowing.
Maybe you don't have to retcon it too hard. Maybe it's like there were sails, but like Clara really, really was excited about the idea of doing something different.
My retcon was that Clara was confusing her current model with the previous one.
Okay.
Because she's been through a couple prototypes and she just got excited.
Big excite.
The first question I'm going to ask you guys is, what is aboard this ship? The Westbreaker is large enough for a crew of about, I'm going to say about a dozen. You guys included. There are a lot of rooms on the Westbreaker. And since it's your ship, what are you using these rooms for?
Well, one is for Pollyanna. She has a room.
She never goes in her room.
Tell me more about Polly's cabin.
And how we get her into her cabin.
It's way too decorated because I went a little bit overboard. She doesn't need it. She doesn't care. Probably like 80% of the flowers are already eaten now. It has areas of like hay for her to sleep on. Yeah, I'd say it's probably one of the bigger rooms, being as she is a pony. Does need, well, an elk, which is even bigger than a pony, so does need quite a bit of space. Yeah, I hope everyone's okay with Polly getting, like, the master suite.
Like I said, the bigger question is, we've given her this room. Does she even use it?
Honestly, barely.
Just to eat the flowers that I put in there, because I think she likes it decorated.
Yeah, no, well, she likes to eat flowers. She thinks they're delicious. She'll go in there if the weather is particularly bad, or admittedly if she's tired.
Mm-hmm.
But she mostly seems to be fine either on the deck or flying around the ship. I guess my next question is, Tissa, what kind of spaces do you want to have on this ship?
Tissa has absolutely no idea what to do with an entire room. I don't think that she has had an entire room that's like been hers for more than a couple of nights in a decade. So maybe she has a place where she can sit and write if she wants to like keep a journal or transfer from her notes of the record of the Magi to a like nicer version where she has jotted down the cycles of the moon and other things that she thinks is important for understanding Hector's story in it. But I think she prefers to be outside also when she can. I wonder if she didn't just set up her bedroll on the floor of it at first.
Just like, oh, this is the campsite. Okay.
Yeah. So she is a little bit in culture shock, I think. She grew up on the seaside, was in small fishing boats, are what the sea is for her, where you go out, probably still within sight of land, and come back, within the day. So this is all, very different for her.
Okay. What about Cobb?
The small room that he has, he's first off kind of surprised because the ship that he used to be on, was a little more cramped than this. This is kind of the Rolls Royce of ships for him. It's a little much. He's used to hot bunks and that kind of stuff, but he's not complaining.
Yeah. I mean, whether or not he'll admit it, it's his ship, so he has to have a cabin.
Yeah. Most of the stuff in his backpack has kind of exploded out to the various parts of his room. So he is no longer carrying around a large pack. He's got all of his stuff everywhere. He appreciates having a place to keep all of his stuff again.
Okay.
And he appreciates the fact that the room makes the moves the correct way.
Yeah. Okay. So I talked to you guys about what you're doing on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So what kinds of scenes would you guys like to do on boat? You guys have talked about a couple things, but what we're doing today is a little interstitial episode. Before we start the next arc, this isn't formally part of anyone's character arc. This is just settling into what is going to become kind of a headquarters for you guys for a while. The Westbreaker. Oh, before we get started, I would like everybody to take 4 levels in Tidal Navigator skills or in Volcanic Tracker skills.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yay.
4 levels?
4 levels, because you guys finished the last arc.
And sorry, you said tidal or volcanic?
Yes.
Ooh, what does Volcanic get? I mean, obviously I know what I get.
The Volcanic Tracker list is, give me a second, Survival Tropical, Melee Weapons, Tactics, Medicine, and Navigation.
I think I'll definitely be taking a little bit of navigation because we did that a lot.
Yeah?
You know what? I think I might take... Ooh, I'm torn between tactics and navigation. I'm very bad at navigation. However, it might be good to have a little bit of tactics. So I'm going to take some tactics.
Okay.
Big tactics.
Well, I mean, also, I could take a bit of nav and a bit of tactics. I have that power.
I picked survival, melee weapons, navigation, and athletics because I did a lot of all of that.
You did a lot of all those things, yes.
That was big, all of that.
I took a level in survival. I took a level in navigation, and I took 2 tactics.
Tissa knows how to use a sextant now, so her navigation rolls are going to be even more overpowered.
This is absolutely true.
Ultimate navigation upgrade.
I would say I learned tactics not necessarily by doing tactics well, but by doing, learning from failure of maybe don't, offer people as to a prince, things like that.
Maybe don't make shit tons of noise.
You did a good job kiting the pillow ray horror around. That was pretty cool.
The shark. Oh, that was yeah. It went pretty good, but it took me a while to figure out that I had, what combination was it again? That was basically
Flying
allowed me to
shark.
fix the mast.
Oh no! To fix the mast, yes, that you had mending.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna
Mending
think I'm gonna
shark.
Guys, okay. We can do it, all right? We can do it. If we all work together, we can all stay quiet long enough for Kathleen to tell us what she's taking.
I think I'm gonna take tactics, navigation, and survival nautical 1 point, and I don't know what to do with the 4th one.
Sadly, there is no shark skill. I guess that's survival nautical. But you
Yeah.
already took that.
Yeah.
I would like to take demons, but that's not an option here.
I mean, because you interacted with a noble demon, I wouldn't object to you taking the spirits skill.
Yeah, so I was thinking another if you would let me doing a spirits or maybe another focus because I did do a lot of thinking about where magic is.
Yeah, you know what? You definitely used those skills, so take your pick of those. Absolutely.
Okay, I think I'll take another focus.
So the Westbreaker has a galley. It is large enough to fit the ship's crew. It has an engine room, which kind of doubles as a workshop. And that's where Clara is virtually all of the time. It's called a map room, but every so often Marcus slips and calls it the war room. And that's very often where he can be found. You guys have your own cabins. And we also have our very luxe princess stable.
Mm-hmm.
The Westbreaker is operated by sails. It has a crow's nest. It has all kinds of ropes for Cobb to play around on. And you guys have been at sea for about a week now. So my next question is, what are you doing?
Cobb is, aside from making sure that the ship is running correctly and, where everybody's doing what they're supposed to, he has a lot of teaching duties that he's taken on this time.
Yep.
He has agreed not only to teach Clara about getting in shape, because he kind of just won the contest by beating her at a foot race, which is a big, that's his prideful way of saying that he respects her boat. He doesn't totally want to go back on the whole I don't know about these steam powered boats, but
yeah.
But he respects it. He respects the boat.
Okay, so let's do that scene then. Who wants to get in on Cobb's exercise lessons?
Sure.
It's a resounding silence.
No, I said sure.
No, I know.
Oh,
I know.
okay.
Our third party member, however.
No, I think that Tissa's probably doing something else during this.
Okay.
Tissa is not much for morning. I don't think calisthenics had been invented by that point, but definitely some carrying buckets of water around and the little things that you can do on the ship. Hey, here's how, push-ups, that sort of fun thing.
So morning has come. Cobb is, I'm assuming, an early riser when he's at sea.
Yes, Cobb is whatever the sun is doing, that is when he is up.
Okay. So it's a nice, crisp morning. There's a slight wind. The air is damp and the sun is pale. And it is the day that we have agreed to do Cobb's exercise lessons. And it is time to gather your students. And the door to the engine room is shut.
Okay, Clara. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure Penelope is out bright and early.
Oh, no. She's not an early riser.
Nobody. It's just Cobb. Well, I'm sure the other.
Tissa might be still up from last night, sort of depending on what the stars were doing and maybe what Hector has said recently.
Okay, yeah, Tissa is still awake, watching Cobb as he attempts to gather his students.
Cobb just kind of glares at Tissa and just sort of go to bed.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Look, we need everybody here to not be passing out on the boat. It's important. Go to bed.
I guess noon's not. Yeah, okay. Okay, sure. Are you doing the thing today?
Yes, we are doing the thing today. Whether they like it or not, they agreed to this. So we're going. You know what? We're going to have fun. This is going to be a fun time. Everybody's going to learn. They're going to learn why the sea is great. I hope so.
The sea is great.
Thank you. Now go to bed.
Yeah, fine.
So whose door are we knocking on first?
Yeah, definitely Penelope first. I figured the engine room is going to be at the end of the hold.
Yeah.
So big loud knock on the door. Penelope, come on. You said in the morning.
Oh, by the way, if Penelope has her own separate room, she often just ends up sleeping in Pollyanna's room anyway.
I figured.
I got
So
a question. What kind of door does Pollyanna's room have? Can she open it?
yeah.
Okay. Because she's also an early riser. She's out on the deck.
So I guess like I hear the knocking. What? Oh,
Come on, get it together. It's time to go.
it's the sun hasn't even come up yet. Okay, give
The
me.
sun will be fully up here in like 10 minutes. You've got 10 minutes to get ready.
Oh, okay. I'm getting up. I'm just stretching. Okay. All right.
All right, I'll be back. You better be ready. No respect.
Kids these days.
Kids these days. But now that we have introduced ourselves, at least to Penelope, it's time to go wake up the true student.
Yeah, okay. So you go have a knock on the engine room door?
Yeah, knock on the engine room door. Clara,
Huh?
yeah, come on. We're doing.
What?
You agreed to this. Come on, it's time to get up.
Sorry, can't hear you, engine.
We're in sail mode. The engine's not on.
How would you know? You don't know anything about engines.
Come on, time to get up.
She's right, you don't.
I mean, I can't hear you. Engines.
Come on.
Oh.
Look, this is the reason why I beat you. This is the reason why we won the race. You've proven that your ship is fine, but if you're going to be a sailor, you have to, be able to survive out on the seas.
Good at lifting stuff. And she does eventually open the door, and everything in the engine room is everywhere.
Is it supposed to? You know what? Never mind.
She kind of rubs her eyes. She's kind of disheveled, as if she fell asleep on a book on her desk.
That's okay. We'll get some sea air and some salt breeze all up in your face. It'll wake you right up. You'll be great. And hey, we'll get some coffee going. We'll have that after morning exercise. Come on.
I'm already good at lifting stuff.
Yes, but this is less about that and more about the fact that, like endurance.
I thought you were making Red do it too.
She'll be here eventually. She better be.
She shuffles out. She has a croissant in her hand already. You don't know where she got it from.
Hey!
Hmm?
There's breakfast?
Oh, no, that's from my bag. But do you want one? I can get one.
Cobb actually grabs the croissant after breakfast after. Like if you eat too much before we do this, you're just going to get sick.
All right.
You're already a little woozy from the.
It sounds horrible. I hate exercise.
Yes, but I won, so we're doing this.
That wasn't part of the deal. So you drag your classmates, I'm assuming, out onto the deck?
Come on, let's go. We don't have a lot of room here, but I've learned plenty of things that'll get you in shape. That'll get your heart pumping and your lungs breathing, and you'll be doing great, even on something like a ship. Besides, you get to be out. It's you get to watch the sunrise. You get to you get the spray of the sea. Oh, it's like, come on.
I don't think you're selling this the way that you're hoping.
Look, once you get good at this, it'll make it'll make doing your other stuff good too. You'll read better. Yeah, totally, 100% guaranteed.
All right. Okay. So.
What?
What's the first? What do we do?
You're just gonna let that one go, huh? You're just gonna let him get away with that one, huh? Okay. All right. Cool.
I'm speaking big truths here, Claire. Keep up.
Fine. But then breakfast.
Yes, then breakfast. But first we have to do warm-ups. You both just got up. You're going to be stiff. We got to work a lot of that out. Come on, follow me. Do what I do. And Cobb's going to sort of go through a basic, like, warm-up, simple stretching, that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, Clara is, still making that sound, but she is going along with it. She's still making that noise, but she's playing along with you.
Cobb he's come to the conclusion that as long as she's doing the work, if she's making noise, he can live with that.
Eventually, Marcus wakes up and he's just kind of found a spot on the deck to settle down with a book and a coffee. He's leaving this one alone.
Morning, Marcus.
Oh, good morning, Miss Hunter.
Actually, what is Marcus's athletics? I always imagined him and Cobb to be about equally as, equally in shape.
He's not quite as athletic as Cobb is, but Cobb is definitely, Cobb is full on, always climbing things.
This is true.
Marcus is in shape enough for soldiering, but not driven to the same length that Cobb is. He definitely doesn't see a need to participate in this, though. He's really much more comfortable just watching. And if he is laughing, he does so very quietly.
Yes, if Cobb catches Marcus laughing, he's gonna make him join in.
I think he's aware of this. I think he's extremely aware of that.
Cobb is kind of giving him some leeway because, again, they're both roughly, again, in my mind, they're both roughly the same size. So Cobb kind of figures that he's getting along. But if he senses weakness, he senses.
Yeah, no, I think he's aware of that. Every so often, Clara's whining turns into Commander. But Marcus is not intervening at all. He's not at all here to come to the rescue. He just likes reading out on the deck.
Do the Aurora Legion have some sort of equivalent cliche to every Marine or rifleman?
Probably. You haven't heard any from them, but I think Clara realizes pretty quickly that she's not going to be rescued by her commanding officer.
Cobb is also going to kind of give Marcus a sort of not a serious disapproving glare, but a somewhat snarky disapproving glare that he's let one of his what are the Crusaders, one of his fellow Crusaders, fall behind on her training.
And yeah, that's fair. I mean, she's engineering corps, so they don't usually push her very hard. And one thing that you've kind of noticed is that Marcus tends to spoil Clara a little bit. She definitely gets away with a lot of unsoldierly behavior. Like, for instance, declaring your boat duel.
Well, while you're on the boat, you're part of my crew. And our rules, the crew rules come first. And the crew rules state, it's time for morning exercise.
What's on the menu once the warm-ups are done?
So the big thing that Cobb is going to try and do here is we're going to try and get some endurance training here, run probably some agility training, run to start at the front of the boat, run to run to the first rigging, come back, run to the second rigging, come back, that kind of thing.
Wind sprints,
that sort of stuff that you can do in a very small area.
Yeah. And I mean, you already know that Clara's Achilles heel is running.
Yeah.
She's not good at it. How good is Penelope at endurance running?
She's decent. Her endurance probably isn't as great as Cobb, but she grew up on a ranch, so she doesn't train the same way as Cobb. Most of her athleticism comes just from her day-to-day work.
And of course, obviously, the one good thing that you can always get in addition to training is towards the end, we're gonna throw him the mop and say, all right, you have 10 minutes to wipe the deck. Get to it.
Why are you mean?
This will be no problem in a week or so.
Cobb, are you sure this isn't just
to where we're going,
us cleaning the boat?
Well,
you can't make me. You're not my commanding officer.
While we're on the ship, I am certainly your commanding officer. One of them, at least.
And yeah, Marcus just shrugs, and that's the extent to which he's getting involved in this.
We also do need to, clean the boat. This knocks out, this gets two birds with one stone. Come on.
Sure.
Cleaning.
The easiest way to build endurance is just to clean like your life depends on it.
All right. So I start kind of polishing the deck.
I think Clara polishes as much of the deck, or rather as little of the deck as she can get away with. She's kind of very closely watching Penelope's pace to see how much of the work she can get away with making Penelope do. That's tactics. Well, good job. Whew, that was a lot.
No, come on. Look, You're going to spend more time and effort getting out of work than it'll be if you actually just do the work. Come on.
If it's time and effort, then I'm certainly training something, probably.
That's the spirit.
Yeah. Ingenuity.
Mm-hmm.
You have plenty of that. You don't need to train that.
That's like saying you don't need to train your muscles. Just because you have them doesn't mean you're always going to have them. Gotta keep sharp.
Well, keep sharp on your own time. Right now we're getting in shape. Come on.
Meh. And she is still very much trying to see how much of the work she can make Penelope do, but she does some of the work. She does approximately, what do you think, Kirsten? A third of the work, rather?
Yeah, seems about right.
Yeah.
Well, you two did a good job, but I think Penelope did more of a job. We'll have to work on that. But all right, you've earned it. Come on, let's go get breakfast.
Breakfast!
Sweet. And Penelope grabs another croissant out of her pocket and just starts eating right then.
Were you cleaning with that in your pocket?
Yeah.
Well, you said that we couldn't have breakfast first, so I just kind of put it in my pocket.
running?
Isn't that
You were
soggy?
running?
It's a little soggy. It's all right though. Also, by the way, she's getting crumbs on the floor that was just freshly cleaned.
With all like being on the ocean, she probably isn't. It's probably sort of all like it's like saltwater taffy, but a croissant. And which when you think about it, like I'm sure Penelope is fine with, but Cobb is gonna kind of give the saltwater croissant the side eye. Let's go get some coffee.
This is why I made her do most of it. She made most of the mess. Coffee. And then back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes. Then we just have morning ship duties, but you did
Yeah.
you did passable today. We'll
Passable.
work on it.
This was a good one-time experiment. Bye.
Cobb just kind of looks around. Where do you think you're going? We're on a ship. There will be tomorrow.
Bye.
She'll love it by the end of the week.
Well, maybe. Take another bite of the salt taffy croissant.
Horrible.
Cobb is completely convinced that everybody will love sailing as much as he does if they're just exposed to it for long enough.
Horrible.
He is still extremely suspicious of the saltwater croissant.
So my next question, Kathleen, there was a scene you wanted to do, right?
After the incident on the boat in which Tissa found a cool harp and had to leave the cool harp there, and feels that she probably could have taken the cool harp with her if she knew how to play an instrument or like how music worked in general, her player Kathleen took a point in performance, but I've never been able to find a place to justify me taking that point of in performance until now. You know who's always talking about knowing how to sing and also to play accordion? It's Cobb.
Oh, yeah, I remember now.
So I think that maybe it's evening, or maybe we are trimming sails or hoisting or something that involves a work song. Or maybe we're just having like an evening recreational sort of thing, and Cobb has just treated us to a rendition of something.
Yeah, I like after dinner. I like everybody's in the galley after dinner. You know, this is the time when it's time to sing.
Yeah, that sounds good. What kind of songs does Cobb sing?
I mean, Cobb obviously mostly sings sea shanties.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also imagining that Cobb uses his adaptability to sing.
Oh no.
So Cobb is kind of a weird jazzy accordion guy.
That's very shanty-ish, actually.
Yeah, like Cobb is 100% not properly trained. Like, not at all. Like, Cobb is good at singing, but Cobb is largely naturally good at singing and just does it a whole lot.
Okay, so with a couple exceptions, people who are sleeping because they're preparing for a late night watch, people who are currently on the deck keeping watch, most of the crew is in the galley right now. Clara has finished a plate of Mostly just meat, despite repeated scoldings, I'm assuming, by both Cobb and Marcus. Marcus is enjoying an after-dinner drink. He's got a book in his lap, and he's kind of looking out the porthole every so often. Most of what you can see is just occasional splashing, but doesn't seem to bother him. What about Tessa and Penelope?
Penelope is finishing putting food in her face because it's dinner time and that's her favorite thing to do. Probably finishing off with a drink of sorts, maybe some like tea or whatever. Chilling, finishing off the last bits of her meal.
And so Tissa's been eating, but if it is singing time, she always immediately is very much paying attention. Always super into that. But if it is not singing time yet, maybe she starts the conversation with, hey, that thing that you were singing last night, why does it always, how does it work?
What, the accordion or the singing?
I guess just thinking about how the song. Yeah, big guy, how does the song?
Physics.
Oh, well, I suppose that one I learned quite a while ago from one of my old shipmates. I don't know where he got it from. He says it was just something that he's known for a long time. But I mean oh boy, how do I
Physics.
Yes? Sure.
You see,
It,
like a chart appears out of nowhere, like a flip chart. When something causes a vibration in the air, that vibration reaches a human's ear and causes the perception of sound.
thank you, Clara.
Yeah.
That makes
If
everything
there's
so
anything
much
I know about
clearer.
its physics.
So,
Penelope still has no idea what.
Glad I could help.
Yes.
It's Cobb kind of puzzles for a moment, and he's like, well, it's kind of like yelling, but very nicely.
And furthermore, when a wave has precisely the right
Thank you.
precisely the right shape, it forms a harmonic or a standing wave. And these are the waves that
Thank
the human
you,
ear
Tiff.
perceives as musical notes.
Thank
and
you,
if they're
Clara. Cobb is slowly to slowly push her into
That's
the
why
other room.
when you pluck a string off,
Look,
that's why
you're
Poor
not.
Clara.
when you pluck a string. Bye.
All right, look, singing is.
Bye.
Yes, bye. Look, singing is not that complicated. I mean, I guess it could be, but it's not the way that I do it.
how do you
Just-
know? How do you know where to start? Because when you start, when you're singing, you always seem to come back to someplace.
Well, I just I use what I've been sort of what I've picked up over the years, and a couple of things that folks have told me. Well, I guess the first thing is just you just copy what you hear like a parrot.
Okay, is that what those bits are for? When you sing the thing and then you sing the same thing again, but then you do the different thing between doing the same thing? Is the same thing bit for learning?
Yeah. Plus, it sounds nice.
Yeah, I think we spent some time, and Cobb teaches kind of like a basic little ditty, probably about Augustine. Yeah, so the gang knows a pretty simple little shanty that everyone can sing. That's dedicated to the prettiest and least sense-making of Daleths, which brings the conversation around a little bit.
What's it like having someone who talks to you a lot? Because I'm pretty sure that it's going to start a new sentence in the record tomorrow, but I think that that the king of the desert maybe talked to me once.
Like, directly? Or, I don't know, like, how does the king of the desert talk? Augustine is fitful? Is a good word for it? Frantic, sometimes?
The king of the desert knows more about everything than you do. It doesn't matter what it is. It just seems like the king of the desert knows things, and Hector, regardless of what Hector knows, Hector understands things. And when you're there, I wasn't even that close. When you're there, you understand them too. But that was like minutes. That was minutes once, and then everything else is the record. And you can read the record, and it's not... It's like how in the song about Augustine, there's a different story, and then everyone talks about it. It's like that, except every different word is a whole day. And so you can read those, but the word "thee," when Hector says the word "thee" to you, it's not just the article, it's everything that happened to you. And it doesn't look right on paper.
I have to say that seems somewhat disconcerting.
Marcus has closed his book now and is just kind of silently on the edge of the conversation with his drink.
But I see you sometimes. You always say that Augustine doesn't make any sense. But when Augustine is saying things, you pay attention, and you seem to talk back sometimes, and that's really interesting to me.
Oh, well, I just tend to talk back if I ever hear someone talking to me. I'm pretty certain Augustine can't hear me, and if they do, they don't pay that much attention to me. But it gives me something to do.
That's interesting, because with Tamaris, I end up more talking to her than I hear back from her. Kind of, it may seem a little one-sided. I know she's listening, but
Does Tamaris ever say anything?
I've heard her twice. Once when I first found the floating island, and then another time when I helped cure an epidemic that was spreading through our ranch and the ranch in our village. And that's the only times I've heard her speak to me. But when she does, she speaks pretty clearly and without, she says exactly what she means to say.
Is it what you're supposed to hear?
I believe so. It seemed that when she spoke to me, it was at important points. And she just seems to be content that she knows you are there, and happy that you're, when you're doing, things that are along her nature, to help and bring, happiness to others.
So you think she wants something?
That she wants something?
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't necessarily have a specific desire that I know of. I think she just seems to be, happy when you are happy and making others happy. It's more a contentment.
See, I'm gonna sensitivity humanity to see if I notice Marcus.
Yeah, that's a good. That's. He sometimes tries not to be noticed.
One success, one edge.
I think we're gonna go with your usual sensitivity humanity.
Okay.
Which is to say, if you keep the edge success, you will be absolutely incapable of keeping it to yourself that you know this.
Oh, you stopped reading.
Yes. Yes.
Do you... I haven't heard much about Gaius.
I have heard more about Gaius than I have heard from him. Gaius is very direct, to the point, issues orders. Not often, very rarely, but he does. Listening to Miss Hunter describe Tamiris is similar to how my forefathers described Gaius. My forefathers described a warm and caring God who lived at the center of a grand temple and who was free with words of encouragement and kindness. I have never heard this Gaius. Since the world fell, all anyone has known is the general enduring Gaius.
You sound sad about that.
Oh, I suppose I am. I suppose anyone would be when I think about it like that. It's difficult to think about what happened to someone who was so dear to my ancestors.
Yes.
It's the world just seems to go on. No matter what happens, Hector will keep speaking, and it seems like he will keep talking long after I'm gone, and will keep telling stories about his story. But even if Gaius isn't the same as he used to be, it seems like he's making things move.
Yes, I agree with that. He has not waited helplessly to fall into despair or whatever else it is has changed him, and we find that admirable. So I guess you guys finish your conversation and go to bed. And my next question is, Kirsten, did you have a scene you wanted to do?
Yes. So Penelope is hoping to learn more about sailing. The actual words for things. So that's what she would be spending her time, probably during the afternoon, I'd say, like between the morning exercises and then our dinner conversation is when she would have been kind of like learning. And I don't know if it's necessarily a specific like set out lessons or more she's just trying to get involved with as much of the ship work as she can and just kind of learn through just kind of being on the ship and watching what the daily routines of the ship.
Okay. So we're doing a scene in which Penelope learns lessons?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh, it sounds like it's time for our favorite instructor, Professor Cobb.
Okay, are you going to pay attention this time?
Yes, I am. I'm feeling good. She's just woken up from a nap she took she got up, did the exercises, had breakfast, and then probably took a nap. And now she's awake again and is ready to go.
Okay, so my question is Tissa part of this? Is Tissa also learning how to boat?
Tissa knows how to boat, but she doesn't know how to large ship.
Okay. All right. So Tissa and Penelope learning how to ship. Pollyanna is soaring out with the seabirds. She's used to flying in different environments than this. The amount of wide open sky she gets at sea, she's really kind of taken to.
Oh,
So you can see her up there in the sky, but she has not been spending a lot of time on the deck.
she's really enjoying herself. I'm glad. She doesn't get to stretch her wings as much as she'd like, I'm pretty sure.
Probably the first place that Cobb will start then, assuming everybody is up for it, is rigging. Rigging is mostly what Cobb does. Like he did a lot of that because as it turns out on big ships, you need a lot of folks doing rigging a lot. So he will show everybody sort of like now this sail, is called a shroud, and this sail, and this rope and this chain.
I'm
now you try.
jotting down in a book and trying to draw diagrams, but it's becoming unintelligible as the more I scratch on it.
Yeah, actually, how many masts does our ship have?
This one has 2.
Okay.
It's standard for early icebreakers.
We've got a lot of ropes then to go over.
So many ropes.
So many ropes.
Show us the ropes.
I was just thinking that. That's awesome.
I mean, I'm sure that's actually where that saying comes from.
I am virtually certain of it.
So, yeah, this is going to be a big old day of literally showing Penelope the ropes. And this is most important, having Penelope call the ropes the right things.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. Like it's unintelligible to anyone else, but I'm jotting down little diagrams just to kind of figure out where everything is, how it all connects.
Quick, 3 parts of a ship, go.
Stern,
Okay.
bow,
Okay.
galley.
Okay. All right.
Knowing what the galley is a very, very on-brand thing.
No, you know what? You did what I asked you to do, so grats. You did it. You passed my test.
I learned boats.
You learned boats.
You...
Penelope is basically a person who's actually a cat.
Kirsten is basically a person who's actually a cat.
She'll learn lots of things. She won't learn what you want her to learn.
No, she will never learn what you have decided she needs to learn.
And Sissa kind of sort of says this out of nowhere. It seems really hard to tack on something this big. If it is just like a one sail ship, you just kind of turn the thing and now you've got to Is this why there are so many people?
Yes, actually. I'm going to show everybody here in chat. Unfortunately, listeners won't be able to see this, but...
Oh, no.
This is all the rigging on a 2-mast.
Yep.
There's a lot of rigging.
Okay, well, yeah, it's true.
Listener, there are 165 ropes or more on this diagram.
I would imagine there's probably about 165 or more ropes on this ship as well. So we have all of these ropes.
We have a lot of ropes to deal with.
We have a lot of ropes to deal with. I would imagine though that we're gonna be here for a while, so we'll get a little bit every day.
Penelope tries her best. She,
Do they all have a song like that one does? Because I remember you singing the song for that one.
Yeah. Cobb actually has an idea. Maybe I can teach them how to sing and how to rig the ship.
Oh, thus cutting the number of lessons he needs to give in half.
Cobb has secretly been learning how to become clever from Clara.
She, by the way, already knows how ship works.
Cobb also leaves the engine to Clara. He is
Yeah.
he is befuddled by the engine and also far too impatient.
Yeah, I think she has butted into these sessions a couple times with just her little flip charts, just like engine. Nope, nope, that's not what we're learning today. Go back to your hellhole. Leave. Engine.
No.
So, you guys are having rigging lessons, and Cobb has taught you a particularly cheerful song meant to keep time as ropes are being hauled around. And you are, as you have been for most of your voyage, within sight of the coast. And you are within sight of a cheerful, shining little white port town. The harbor is dotted with just cute little single-sailed fishing vessels, the kind Tissa remembers from her childhood. The air is full of the cries of gulls as they fly in big, lazy circles all around you. And Pollyanna seems to try to join their flock, but very clearly does not quite fit in. It's a metaphor for you, Kirsten.
Oh.
Wow.
Ouch.
I'm kidding. But you have been informed by the ship's quartermaster that we're running a little bit low and that it's high time we went to shore. Do a little shopping.
I don't know whether she lets on to this or not, but Tissa is very, very eager to go out somewhere and get lost for a bit. This has been a lot of time in very, sort of cramped, not as much novel sort of circumstances.
And the quartermaster kind of stands aside and says, well, what say you, Mr. Cobbler?
Well, sounds good to me. Let's weigh anchor and head on over there.
All right. Our trio strolls down the gangplank into an unfamiliar and adorable city where nothing bad will happen next week on Sword of Symphonies.
Although I screwed that up. Weigh anchor is the opposite of what we're doing.
It is the opposite of what we're doing, but
Nick is a very
we're
bad
moving-
sailor. Cobb
but
is
I'm
a
trying
good sailor.
but we're moving on to memory time.
I remember when I screwed up terminology because I'm bad at sailing.
Bad memory, do another one.
False.
No, it is not. That is true. I am bad at sailing.
Bad memory, do another one. You heard her.
I liked Tissa's little heart-to-heart with Marcus.
Yeah, I liked that too. That was nice.
Tissa's being nice to Marcus. She's listening to him and not just constantly giving him endless guff.
Yeah, like some party members.
I also thought that it was kind of neat that I guess I don't have a specific thing. I think it's more everyone was kind of bonding together in their own way. You know, I think that I liked just the camaraderie in general.
I also like that you ate that gross saltwater croissant.
You wouldn't bring that up. I was praying in my wicked little heart that you wouldn't bring that up again because it's so gross. Oh, none of my terrible gods were able to prevent this.
It's because you're not praying to the gods of terrible saltwater croissants.
How do you know I'm not? Which life?
This is true.
What about you, Kathleen?
I am enjoying the sort of little bit of an opportunistic streak that we're seeing in Cobb regarding his sort of teaching duties.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tween swab the deck for me and I can kill two birds in one stone here.
Look,
He's sly. He's sly, that old sea dog.
Sly.
look. Cobb has low understanding, but he has pretty decent. Actually, he has zero subtlety, so I don't know how he's getting away with this.
That's a very good. I think we just let you say you're being sneaky, and we never call you on it, and that's
Maybe
wow.
he's. I think he's being sneaky. He doesn't realize he's being sneaky. It's just ultra instinct sneakiness, just like how Kirsten sandbags your jokes.
Oh,
Okay.
It's just like innate.
It's innate,
You know how birds
yeah.
fly, I guess.
Kirsten doesn't have to be taught.
Kirsten does not do it on
mastermind.
purpose.
That's what makes it perfect.
If I try to do jokes on purpose, it's bad.
No.
Oh yeah, no. If somebody made a funny joke and like Kirsten wanted to sandbag it, that I don't think that would happen at all.
No, it would.
No, that doesn't work. No. Like, she's tried it. We've seen it. No, doesn't work.
The more intentional my action is, the less likely it is to work.
Look, Kirsten, you're perfect just the way you are. You're all perfect just the way you are. Thank you guys so much for playing with me this week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, listener. Thank you, listener, for listening to us this week.
Yeah, thank you, listeners.
We love you.
And send us your
Share
sea
your memories with
shanties.
Or your sea shanties.
Show us how much more you know about sea shanties and ships and all this other stuff that I don't know.
We'd love that. We would love you to share your role-playing memories with us. You can reach us on Twitter at Peach Garden RPGs. There's an email form on our website, peachgardengames.com. You can, whisper them to the wind and trust that the wind will carry them to us. And that's not really our preferred means of communication, but if it's yours, we'll adapt.
Yeah, we'll give it the old college try.
Absolutely, we will. I'm done the outro, right? That's all the things I have to do in the outro?
That's all the things you've got to do in the outro.
Okay, well, bye everybody.